This is a little bit better. Hello, I'm Dr. Heddingren, and I would have loved to have met you in person, but we've had this hurricane and everything, so I want to make sure that you can stay on top of things. We're going to go through about 30 minutes of talking about class, after which I've got a couple of projects that I want you to do. There's a reading that you need to do that's up online. It's the syllabus, and a very, very short handout called How to Ask for Help. So this is one that I normally distribute in class. So really make sure you read the syllabus very, very closely. Second thing is to watch this video and go over the PowerPoint that is connected with it. The third thing that I would like you to do is do an assignment. So I'll be talking about that later. It's a short, couple of paragraph assignments, but it's about you. So that's going to be kind of fun. Get a little chance to be a little selfish. Think about yourself. Let me talk about the class though, because obviously you're going to have some questions about the class, what you're getting into. And since we're not going to be meeting together until after Labor Day, that's like 2 weeks on, I need to give you a head start because after the first 2 weeks, you're going to have a much harder time dropping the class. You're going to have a much harder time completing assignments if you don't understand them. So, a lot of class business we need to talk about. So let's get started. First off, I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of who I am, who your professor is, so you can get to know me a little bit, what to expect in this class, and then also, because this is what everybody wants to know, how to ace this class. So how can you get an A in my class? I'm going to tell you. No secrets. Okay, so let's move forward. So I'm Dr. Mary Heddingren. Recent past, I graduated from the University of Texas at Austin with my PhD just a couple years ago. My dissertation was on disciplinary writing, so how non-English writers write, by which I mean people who are in business or in other disciplines, different ways of writing. Right now, I'm a lecturer in the writing program. I teach full-time, I teach 4 classes. And I'm a researcher of writing identities, so that's where my research usually is. Okay, so what good is this class? Like, what is this class, even good for? And a lot of you guys are taking this class because you have to take it. That's fine, I don't blame you. But I want you to think about what's good about this class. What can you hope to get out of it? We'll talk a little bit later about connecting this with your goals. But if you want to own your own business, or if you want to do a really good job in your first career or on an internship, this class can help you with that. So it can help you in 3 ways. The first way, what most people think about is they think about grammar, right? And grammar does matter. So the Penn State resume study was one done by one of my colleagues, Davida Charney, and she was teaching at Penn State. It's a great engineering school. And all of her students said, I'm a good engineer. What do I need to learn grammar for? And so she said, good question, let's find out. So she got a stack of resumes, and she went through, and about half of them, she added a tiny mistake in, different types of mistakes for different types of resumes, and then she mixed them all in, so scattered in this huge stack. Then, when recruiters came on campus, she plopped down this huge stack of resumes, and they went through, and this is how recruiters go through resumes. Yes, no, 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 no. Yes, yes, no, no, yes. And they just go through fast, seconds. And they had a much smaller stack of people that they would have called back for an interview. And she asked them, she said, look, all of these resumes were from Penn State. All of them had great internships and experiences and great GPAs. Why did you only choose this small stack? And they said, well, we saw the mistakes in grammar, and we didn't want that in an employee. One person even said, and I love this, he said, if you make a mistake with a comma, how do I know you're not going to make a mistake with a decimal? Whew. That's like some strong words, right? So there's a lot of value to learning this grammar and correctness. But there's a couple of different ways of thinking about grammar. One way is these prescriptivists. These are the people who have like a dictionary definition of how people should speak. They're the ones who say things like, don't end a sentence with a preposition, or irregardless, is not a word, stuff like that. Descriptivists are more concerned about how people speak and write right now. So let me give you an example of the difference between these. There's some little cards here. And you're going to tell me when it's wrong. So, I need to get them all ready. Okay. It was fun. You guys feel good about that? Okay. How about it was a fun time? Does it still feel pretty good? Okay. How about it was a funner time? We had a funner time in business class than staying at home. Some of you guys feel okay about that. Some of you are concerned about that. All right. Got one more for you. How about it was the funnest time? How do you guys feel about funnest? No? A lot of people have a problem with this word, but they don't have problems with a fun time. Ooh, a fun time, wherever it is. A fun time used to be incorrect. So before, back in the turn of the last century, you could say, we had fun. Right? Fun was a noun. But it was not common to use it in the term of, it was fun. That wasn't allowed. A fun time was not grammatically correct. So now, if fun is like the word green, what's wrong with saying it was greener? Or it was the greenest I had ever seen? But fun, it doesn't sound right. And the reason why it doesn't sound right is because fun used to be a noun. We had fun. There was fun to be had, right? So that's the difference between descriptivists and prescriptivists. Prescriptivists would say never ever funner. Descriptivists would say if people say funner, that's the way to say it. So in class we're going to talk about some vocabulary that you can use to describe grammar choices. What is a noun? What is an adjective? And we're going to learn some kind of worksheet basic rules of grammar. So that's okay, but it's not everything. The next thing that I want you to focus on in this class that you learn is writing process. So learning how to write clearly, correctly, and relatively quickly. So how do you do a revision? How do you get feedback? Things like that. Because the process that you learn in this class for our assignments, you should be able to use when you have to write an important email or a report or any other type of business writing. Speaking of business writing, group writing projects, according to a survey done by Forbes, is the #1 skill that employers are looking for. So when you graduate as a new graduate, the #1 thing that they want to see is that you can work with a group to write something. And whatever job you go into, whether that's hospital administration or accounting or law, you're going to have to work, on a committee in a group writing things. So it's a very important skill to learn. We're going to be doing lots of group work in this class. Okay. Practice feedback. Okay, finally, level 3, critical thinking. This is a term that's like a buzzword. It's used all the time, and a lot of times people don't really know what it means. What is critical thinking? So, I want to give you an example. Think about how you treated this hurricane. How did you evaluate the quality of information that you got from Facebook versus a really reputable source? How did you judge and decide them? How did you plan for the future based off of what these reports were? All of that is part of critical thinking. It's questioning and wondering and synthesizing. So business changes really fast. And if you think, I just need to learn how to write an email, things are going to change. So social media and technology changes. It used to be that Twitter was going to be such a big deal. Now Twitter's not as big of a deal, but something else will come up. Foursquare used to be a big deal, right? Nobody talks about Foursquare anymore. And then also each corporate culture, each place that you work is going to have its own style. So what's the best way to write, for example, for a small restaurant owned by a family is not going to be the best way to write when you work at Goldman Sachs. So I need you to start thinking about these higher level, thinking about the way you think. How do you make decisions? Those sorts of stuff. So those are the 3 levels that I really want you to learn this year. They're all important, but level 1 is not going to be enough. You also need to learn these other 2 levels. So all this stuff should be very important to you as you move forward. Let's talk about what to expect in this class in general. What is involved every day, nuts and bolts. So the worst thing about this class, you already know. And the worst thing about this class is that it's 3 hours long. It's not easy for you to sit there for 3 hours. It's not easy for me to teach for 3 hours. So we've broken it up. Here's what you can expect day by day. In the first hour, it's going to be a little bit more traditional, the kind of stuff that you expect to do in class. I'm going to give you a lecture. There might be a PowerPoint like this one. We might do a couple of small in-group activities to make sure that you understand the stuff that I'm talking about. That's what happens in the first hour. In the second hour, we have lab time. So that's this section here. You might be asked to complete an entire short writing assignment that will be due that day. So you'll have exactly 1 hour to work on it. Whew, that's hard, right? Because you have so little time, I want you to be able to get right to work. If you need a jacket to stay warm, or if you need headphones because you like to listen to EDM while you write, whatever you need to make that second hour productive. Also, if you need help from me or from your groups, this is a great time to get it. Finally, in the third hour, when you come back, you'll probably turn in assignments if you have an assignment to do. You'll take quizzes, like the syllabus quiz you'll take after the second hour. And then that's when we do our grammar. So it's a little change of pace. Instead of having this big, thinky level 3 kind of stuff, we go back to level 1 and we just do some grammar. Okay, what else do we got here? Next, you'll notice in the syllabus, it's divided up into units, so those will be different colors, and each unit is going to focus on a major assignment. So you'll have a certain reading that is due. So for example, if you're in the Tuesday class, you would have to come to class September 5th already having done that reading. So make sure you've already got it like in your head perfect. We're going to do some in-class activities, and we're going to have an assignment that's due. Be sure to check because this can change, and major assignments you always turn in online. Okay, so how to get an A in this class. That's probably one of the most important things you're thinking about. I don't have any rules about, I only give out 2 A's or look to the left, look up to the right, one of you is going to fail. I don't do that. I want you all to succeed. But it is a hard class, and you're going to have to take time outside of class to work on it. But here are the 3 tips to get an A. Everybody who's done all 3 of these things has never gotten anything less than an A. First, come to class. Come and participate fully. So you do need to literally come to class because I feel okay failing somebody who's been absent more than 2 times. Also, you're going to be doing a performance review with your classmates, and so you can lose points on your citizenship grade for not coming to class. Finally, you really need to participate. Participate in class during the lecture, thinking about how to connect this with your own goals, and make sure that during that lab hour you're actually working. If I come by and you're just sitting on Facebook, I'm going to include that in your performance review, and it's not going to go well for you, but it's also going to be bad because you don't have time to finish that major assignment. So please make use of that time. Get help when you need it. Talk with your group mates, set up, a text chain or something. Come to office hours. I've had students who have come every single week to my office hours, and those students do really well in my class because if they have a question, I can answer it for them. Use the Writing Center. You can be, even if you live in Katy, you can go to the Writing Center and get work done there. Meet with librarians. Finally, protect your time in this class. Set aside a regular time that you're going to work on this class. And the number 1 advice that people in this class give at the end is don't procrastinate. So make sure that you keep track of your time. This is a workload estimator. This is how much time you should be planning on outside of class. Finally, I'm going to be giving you a mentor paper. You're going to have to write it. It's going to be a big group project. So here's your assignments for the rest of this first unit. This is a little warm-up before we get into the big project, a big research paper. So you're going to have a short group project, and then you're going to have an individual project that I'm going to talk about later. We're also going to be doing individual conferencing, where you and I sit down and we plan for the semester. So I hope this little introduction has given you a good sense of what's coming in the semester. Please email me if you have questions. and be sure to do the quiz online. All right, I'm looking forward to seeing you in person in a couple of weeks.